An 18-month-old baby feared everyone. Doctors, neighbors, even her babysitter. No one could calm her. Until a stranger millionaire stepped into her world. One touch, one glance, and everything changed. Tonight, a single decision would test trust, courage, and the unexplainable bond between a mother, her daughter, and a man she never expected. The streets of Boston were quiet, with only the occasional taxi passing under the dim streetlights. Mariah Ellis, 24, clutched her daughter, Lily in her arms as she walked briskly toward the glass doors of Sterling Enterprises. Lily was 18 months old and rarely smiled at anyone outside home. Mariah had no choice. Her babysitter had canceled at the last minute, leaving her with no one to watch Lily during her night shift. Bills were piling up, rent was overdue, and she could not afford to miss work. Taking Lily along was risky but necessary. Inside the building, the lobby was silent and eerily bright. Mariah kept her head down and avoided the security cameras as she moved toward the elevator. Lily stirred but did not cry. Usually any stranger could set her off, but tonight she seemed unusually calm. The elevator ride felt endless. Mariah whispered, "Stay close to me, Lily. We will be fine." When the doors opened to the executive floor, Mariah froze. A man in a navy suit was standing near the conference room reviewing papers. He looked stern but not unkind. Lily turned her head toward him and, to Mariah's shock, reached her little arms out. She had never approached anyone on her own before. The man noticed and knelt slowly. His calm demeanor seemed to reassure Lily. She nestled into his shoulder, letting out a soft sigh, finally at ease in a world that usually frightened her. Mariah stared, stunned and relieved, unsure how anyone could calm Lily this easily. Mariah Ellis's heart raced as she held Lily closer to her chest. But something unexpected was happening. Lily, her 18-month-old daughter, who usually shrieked or stiffened at the sight of strangers, remained calm in the arms of the man in the navy suit. Mariah could hardly believe it. The little girl's wide brown eyes followed his movements, her tiny hands clutching his jacket as if instinctively knowing she was safe. From the corner of the room, a tall man with sharp features, dressed in a crisp gray suit and adorned with a gold watch, noticed the unusual scene. His jaw dropped slightly and the papers in his hand trembled. "What is going on here?" he demanded sharply, his voice cutting through the silence of the executive floor. Whispers and curious glances moved quickly among the other staff members, their surprise evident. Mariah stepped forward, trying to steady herself despite the tension. Her voice was calm but firm. "I am sorry. My babysitter canceled at the last minute. I had no choice but to bring Lily. She usually does not stay calm around strangers." She glanced at her daughter, who remained secure in the stranger's arms, and hoped that her explanation would make sense. The man with the gold watch shook his head in disbelief. "You brought a child into an executive meeting? Do you have any idea how serious this floor is?" His voice carried authority, and a faint tremor suggested both frustration and confusion. Mariah swallowed hard. She could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on her. "Yes, sir. I understand. I will leave if you want me to. I needed this night to work." The words left her lips with a quiet determination. She had come here to do her job, and despite the chaos, she refused to let fear dominate her. Meanwhile, Lily did not cry or flinch. Instead, she rested her head gently against the stranger's shoulder, her eyes looking up at him with wide, trusting innocence. Mariah's heart warmed, though her mind spun with questions. Why had Lily chosen to trust this man immediately? She had rejected doctors, neighbors, and even her own babysitter before. Yet here, in the middle of a strange office filled with stern executives, Lily seemed content and secure. The man in the navy suit finally spoke, his voice calm, soft, and reassuring. "It is all right. She seems safe." His eyes met Mariah's for a moment, and she felt a small wave of relief wash over her. No one had ever understood Lily in this way. The little girl's trust had shifted something in the room, however subtle. The executives murmured quietly among themselves, their whispers carrying confusion, curiosity, and a hint of admiration. Some glanced at their watches, clearly aware that their attention should have been elsewhere. But none dared to break the stranger's calm control of the situation. The tension remained thick, but Lily's unexpected trust had created a fragile pocket of peace. Mariah exhaled slowly, still holding her daughter close. The strange man's steady presence anchored both of them, She felt a flicker of hope, tiny but real, that perhaps the night would not spiral into disaster. Somehow, Lily's instincts had guided them to the one person in the room who could provide calm amid chaos. Mariah's heart softened as she watched her daughter settle, finally letting go of the fear that had dominated her life for 18 months. For the first time that night, Mariah allowed herself to believe that they could make it through. The stranger, holding Lily securely, had not only protected the child physically, but had somehow bridged the gap between fear and trust. The atmosphere in the office shifted imperceptibly, and though the room remained tense, there was now a small thread of hope woven into the chaos. The office remained tense, the polished floors reflecting the harsh overhead lights, and Mariah Ellis felt her heart pounding in her chest. She held Lily a little tighter, her fingers brushing against the little girl's soft hair. The child, unusually calm, clung to the tall man in the navy suit. It was unlike anything Mariah had ever seen. Finally, the man spoke. "I am Nathan Parker," he said quietly, still holding Lily gently but securely. His voice was calm, measured, carrying a quiet authority that seemed to fill the room without effort. Mariah nodded slowly, unsure if she could trust him, but feeling a strange, unexplainable sense of relief. "Your daughter seems to trust me," Nathan added, a hint of surprise in his tone. "She doesn't usually do that with anyone." His eyes scanned Lily's face, softening as he noticed the tiny hands clutching at his jacket, the slight tension melting from her body. Mariah shook her head, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. "I don't understand it. She has never been like this. Not even with our neighbors, doctors, or babysitters. She usually screams or hides immediately whenever someone approaches." Her voice carried a mixture of awe and worry. She had always been cautious about exposing Lily to strangers, and now she was witnessing something she couldn't explain. Nathan's gaze drifted toward the other employees who had been observing silently, their faces still a mixture of disbelief and curiosity. "Sometimes children can sense things adults cannot," he said. "Perhaps she felt something different with me." His voice was gentle, yet it carried a sense of certainty that made Mariah pause. Mariah wanted to ask more questions, to understand why her daughter had made such an unusual choice, but the sudden sound outside the office door drew everyone's attention. Papers rustled, footsteps echoed sharply on the corridor floor, and the tension in the room spiked instantly. "Security!" someone called out, their voice tight with concern. Mariah's stomach lurched, panic rising. Her mind raced. She could not afford to lose her job, not now, and she could not allow anything to happen to Lily. The stakes felt impossibly high. Nathan, however, remained calm. He lowered his voice slightly and murmured to Mariah, "Don't worry, stay close to me." His tone seemed to reach Lily as well. The child relaxed further, resting her head against him without fuss. Mariah's awe deepened. Somehow, Lily's instincts had guided her to this man, and he had responded in a way that made the little girl feel completely safe. The office staff exchanged uneasy glances. Whispers rippled quietly among them, their eyes shifting nervously from Nathan to Lily, trying to interpret the unusual scene before them. None of them understood why the child had chosen to trust a stranger so instinctively. And yet, the man's presence exuded calm and authority that softened the tension in the room. Mariah's chest tightened as she realized the significance of the moment. She had walked a fine line tonight, risking exposure by bringing Lily into this highly sensitive environment. And yet Nathan's presence, steady, patient, and unexpectedly reassuring, felt like a lifeline she had not expected. Somehow, his calm had not only anchored Lily but had given Mariah a fragile sense of hope. In that moment, amidst the murmurs, tension, and uncertainty, Mariah understood that this connection, strange, sudden, and unexplainable, might be the one thing keeping them both safe. The executive floor of Sterling Enterprises was eerily quiet, the usual hum of computers and fluorescent lights replaced by a tense stillness. Mariah clutched her coat tightly, feeling the cool fabric against her palms, and held Lily closer. The little girl rested against Nathan Parker's chest, her breathing finally slowing. Yet Mariah could feel the weight of unease in the room. Executives whispered in small groups, their eyes sharp and suspicious, their postures rigid as they stole glances at the child and the man holding her. Nathan knelt slightly, lowering himself to Lily's level without making sudden movements. His voice was soft but firm, resonating with a calm authority. See, everything is fine. You are safe here, he murmured. Lily's tiny fingers clutched at his jacket, and she leaned into him, her body relaxing for the first time that night. Mariah watched, stunned, as the tension in her daughter's shoulders seemed to melt away. In all her months of fearing strangers, no one, not even her babysitter or neighbors, had been able to calm Lily like this. For a brief moment, Mariah allowed herself to hope. Perhaps tonight would not be as impossible as she had imagined. But the fragile calm shattered with a sudden noise. A thick folder toppled from the corner of the table, scattering papers across the polished floor. The sound echoed sharply, startling the executives. Mariah's heart skipped, a beat as she instinctively shielded Lily. Nathan moved quickly yet gently, bending to gather the documents with careful precision. He kept his movements controlled, his eyes scanning the contents as he straightened. Mariah caught a glimpse of figures, numbers, and handwritten notes in the papers he held. Her stomach twisted. These were no ordinary office files. Something serious, something far beyond routine paperwork, was hidden within these documents. Her mind raced, imagining the consequences if anyone discovered she had seen even a portion of them. Panic threatened to rise, but Nathan's calm presence was a steady anchor. "Careful," Nathan murmured, glancing at her with a reassuring expression. "Some things in this office are not meant for outsiders or children." Mariah swallowed hard. She had come in thinking this night would be just another shift. Now she realized she had walked straight into a situation she could not fully understand. Her eyes flicked around the room, taking in the wary glances of the executives. Everyone seemed tense, their whispers barely audible but filled with suspicion. One of the senior executives, a tall man with a stern expression, stepped forward, voice sharp and controlled. "Why is this child here during sensitive work?" he demanded. "This is highly inappropriate." Mariah hesitated, unsure how to respond. She opened her mouth, but Nathan's steady gaze met hers. His calm yet commanding tone carried through the room. "She's safe with me. Trust me," he said firmly. Mariah nodded, forcing herself to believe him. She had no choice. Lily's instinctive trust in Nathan was the only thing keeping her grounded. The scattered papers reminded her that tonight was far from ordinary. Secrets hid in every corner of this office, and Mariah realized that she was standing at the edge of something far bigger than herself. Somehow, amidst the fear and tension, the little girl's connection with Nathan was a lifeline she could cling to. The conference room felt unusually still after the initial shock. Mariah's palms were sweaty as she held her daughter close, but Lily seemed calm in Nathan's arms. Mariah could hardly believe what she was seeing. Her daughter, who had never willingly approached a stranger in 18 months, was now comfortably resting against Nathan. It was like a small miracle in the middle of a storm. Executives whispered quietly, some shaking their heads in disbelief, others trying to hide amusement at the unusual scene. One young analyst muttered, "I've never seen a kid act like that with anyone outside the family." Nathan noticed Mariah watching him and gave a reassuring nod. "She is scared of loud, unpredictable things," he explained softly. "You've done a good job keeping her calm." Mariah exhaled slowly, her heart still racing. She had spent sleepless nights worrying about Lily's fears, wondering if something was wrong with her. But seeing Nathan's calm, patient demeanor made her wonder if maybe some people just had the ability to connect where others could not. Suddenly, a phone rang from the far corner of the room. Lily flinched at the sharp tone, but Nathan adjusted her gently on his shoulder, murmuring, "It's okay, you're safe here." The little girl's breathing slowed almost immediately. Mariah was astonished. She had never seen anyone command Lily's trust so effortlessly. One of the executives finally spoke, voice tight. "This is highly irregular. You understand that a child on the executive floor is a liability, right?" Mariah swallowed hard. "Yes, sir. I only wanted to finish my shift. I never imagined this would happen." Nathan turned slightly to the group, placing a calming hand on Lily's back. "She is not a threat. Everyone here needs to take a deep breath and focus. Tonight is about more than a child's presence. There are things we need to handle carefully. And I promise she will be safe while we do it." The room went quiet again. Executives exchanged hesitant glances. Mariah noticed a mixture of respect and wariness in their eyes as Nathan's words carried weight beyond his title. She could feel a small sense of hope stirring. Perhaps tonight would not end in disaster after all. Even Lily seemed to sense the shift. She rested her head fully against Nathan, finally closing her eyes, her little body relaxing. Mariah felt an unfamiliar warmth in her chest, gratitude, relief, and a fragile sense of security. Minutes passed, and the uneasy calm in the executive office began to crack. The faint shuffle of papers, whispered conversations, and the soft hum of the air conditioning suddenly seemed louder, more ominous. Mariah's chest tightened as her eyes flicked toward the far side of the room. Something about the scattered documents from earlier did not feel accidental. Her mind raced. Had someone intentionally left them exposed? Or was this a careless mistake? Either way, the implications felt heavy. Nathan noticed her gaze and followed it, his dark eyes narrowing slightly. "Stay close to me," he said quietly, his voice carrying a subtle edge of warning. These papers could cause serious problems if the wrong person sees them. His tone was calm, but the underlying urgency made Mariah shiver. She instinctively tightened her grip on Lily, who was still resting quietly against Nathan's chest, her tiny head tucked under his chin. Mariah tried to steady her voice, speaking in a whisper to herself more than to Nathan. "I don't even know what they are, but I have a feeling this isn't just about office work." The thought made her stomach knot. She had only intended to finish her night shift and leave unnoticed. But now she was deep inside a corporate web of secrets, something she could not fully understand yet. A young executive carrying a tablet in one hand hesitated before approaching Nathan. His eyes darted nervously toward the corners of the room. "Sir, there's something I need to show you," he said softly. Mariah watched the man's hands tremble slightly as he handed the device over, glancing around as if fearing someone might overhear. Nathan's brow furrowed as he scanned the screen. Mariah felt her pulse quicken. The names, numbers, and transaction logs pointed to something serious. Financial discrepancies, unusual transfers, and hints of potential fraud. She had no idea how deep the problem ran, but the tension in the room thickened immediately. Executives who had been murmuring in small groups straightened, some whispering urgently to each other, while others cast wary glances at Nathan and the documents he now held. Mariah's heart pounded. She had walked in thinking tonight would be just another night shift. Yet she now realized she was in the middle of a corporate crisis that could escalate at any moment. Her thoughts bounced between fear and awe, and yet, in the center of it all, Lily remained calm, sensing Nathan's control over the situation. Her tiny hands relaxed, her breathing steady. It was almost as if she knew he was someone she could trust implicitly. Nathan looked down at Mariah, his voice steady but firm. "We need to be careful. Not everyone here can be trusted. Keep Lily close and stay out of the way unless I ask you to help." Mariah nodded, gripping her daughter tighter. She had no choice but to trust him. As Nathan moved to address the gathered executives, Mariah realized that tonight had become far more than just work. It was a test of trust, courage, and survival. The documents were a doorway into something dangerous, and the alliances in the room were fragile. Somehow, Lily's instinctive trust in Nathan had given Mariah the clarity she needed. If she stayed close, followed instructions, and remained calm, perhaps they could navigate the night safely. Somehow she knew that this unlikely connection between her daughter and a man she had barely met might hold the key to surviving. The hidden threats now surrounding them. The fluorescent lights in the conference room flickered slightly, casting long shadows across the polished floors. Mariah clutched Lily close, her thoughts racing. She had never been part of something this intense. The office had always been a place she passed through, quietly during her night shifts, invisible and unnoticed. Tonight was different. Tonight she had walked straight into chaos. Nathan Parker's calm voice cut through the tension as he spoke to the executives. "We need to review these numbers carefully. Some of the transfers appear irregular." His eyes were sharp, scanning faces around the room. "This is serious, but panicking will make things worse." Mariah's mind drifted briefly. She remembered the nights she had struggled to make ends meet. How she had worked multiple cleaning shifts just to cover rent and groceries. Lily's needs had always been her top priority. And now, in this high-stakes environment, she felt that weight more than ever. She glanced at her daughter, whose tiny fingers clutched Nathan's jacket. Even in the middle of this crisis, Lily seemed anchored by Nathan's presence. A sudden knock at the door jolted everyone. A senior executive stepped in, holding a thick envelope. "Sir, this just arrived from accounting." It may explain some of the discrepancies. Nathan's jaw tightened as he took the envelope and quickly skimmed through the documents. His eyes flickered with concern. Mariah noticed how focused he was, how naturally authority flowed from him even under pressure. It was clear he had seen situations like this before. She couldn't help but feel a flicker of admiration. Somehow he had managed to calm Lily while simultaneously taking control of a room full of stressed executives. The documents revealed past mistakes and hidden transactions. The deeper Nathan looked, the more Mariah realized the night would not end quietly. The office had layers of secrets, and she had stumbled right into the middle of them. Yet, Nathan's confidence seemed to shield her from panic. "Mariah, stay with Lily," Nathan said softly, noticing her tension. "She needs to see you calm too." Mariah nodded, trying to breathe steadily, feeling the weight of the night pressing down on her. Suddenly, Lily stirred and whispered a tiny word Nathan couldn't understand. Nathan smiled gently and leaned closer. "It's okay, Lily. Nothing is going to hurt you." Mariah's heart softened at the sight. In a world so tense and uncertain, her daughter had found a protector in a man she barely knew. Mariah realized that tonight was more than just work. It was a test of trust, instincts, and courage. As the executives continued their heated discussions, Mariah clung to the fragile sense of hope that Nathan had inspired, believing somehow they might make it through the night safely. The room had grown colder in both atmosphere and tone. Mariah's pulse quickened as Nathan motioned her to stay close to the corner, holding Lily firmly. The executives were now whispering urgently, their voices a mixture of fear and suspicion. The documents Nathan had uncovered painted a picture of something far bigger than simple accounting errors. One of the senior accountants stepped forward nervously. "Sir, these numbers, they suggest embezzlement. Large sums have been moved through untraceable accounts. We may be looking at fraud that involves multiple departments." Mariah's eyes widened. She had never imagined her night shift would place her in the middle of a corporate scandal. She tightened her grip on Lily, whose small head rested against Nathan's shoulder. Even the little girl seemed to sense the gravity of the situation, her tiny body stiffening slightly. Nathan's expression hardened as he read through more documents. "We have to be careful who we trust," he said quietly to Mariah. "Some of these people may be involved." He glanced around the room. "If we handle this wrong, it could blow up beyond our control." Mariah's stomach churned. She had never faced anything like this. Her life had always been about survival and keeping Lily safe. Now she was standing at the center of a storm she barely understood. And yet, Nathan's presence made her feel grounded, as though she was no longer alone. Suddenly, a muffled sound came from the hallway. The office door shook slightly and a voice called out sharply, "What is happening in there? Why has the security alarm triggered?" Panic rippled across the room. Mariah felt Lily stiffen, but Nathan's steady hand on her back reassured her. "We must act fast," Nathan whispered, scanning the room. "We need to secure the documents and figure out who is behind this, before anyone outside sees them." Mariah nodded, her mind racing. She had no idea what Nathan planned, but she trusted him. Lily, too, seemed to understand. She relaxed slightly against Nathan's chest, her small fingers curling around his jacket. As Nathan began delegating tasks to the executives, Mariah realized how much she had underestimated him. He moved with precision, calm yet authoritative, turning chaos into order. The night had transformed from a simple work shift into a battle of wit, trust, and courage. And in that moment, Mariah understood that Lily's instinctive connection to Nathan was more than luck. It was a lifeline, one that might be the key to surviving the night and uncovering the truth. Behind the office's hidden threats, the office was quiet now, but tension still lingered in the air like an invisible fog. Mariah held Lily close, her mind racing. She had spent months worrying about her daughter's fears, her insecurities, and now, in the middle of a corporate storm, she was more aware than ever how fragile her world felt. Yet Lily remained calm, trusting Nathan completely. Nathan walked slowly across the room, papers in one hand and a tablet in the other. He had spoken to everyone in the office, quietly questioning each department, piecing together a timeline of the fraudulent activity. Every movement was precise, deliberate. Mariah watched him, her heart filling with gratitude and awe. A sudden knock at the conference room door made everyone jump. Security had arrived, alerted by the triggered alarms. Nathan raised a hand to halt them. "Not yet," he said quietly. We need to confirm the facts before anyone else sees these documents. Mariah's stomach twisted. She had never been so aware of danger before. This was not just about work. Someone could lose their job or worse, and somehow her presence, a night cleaner carrying her daughter, had become part of this high-stakes puzzle. One of the executives finally spoke, his voice strained. "Sir, these accounts, they involve people in management. If this goes public, the fallout could be massive." Nathan nodded. "I know. That's why we proceed carefully. Mariah, I need you to stay here with Lily. Do not panic. Everything is under control." Mariah swallowed. Clinging to Lily, she realized that the little girl's instinctive trust in Nathan had become her anchor as well. If Nathan could stay calm in the midst of chaos, maybe she could too. Hours seemed to pass as Nathan continued piecing together the web of financial deceit. Mariah watched quietly, trying not to interfere, while executives whispered in corners, reviewing documents under his guidance. Each revelation brought new tension, new fear, but Nathan remained a steady center. Finally, he looked up, exhaustion in his eyes, but determination clear. "We have the evidence we need. Now it's about making sure the right people are held accountable." Mariah exhaled slowly, relief mingled with exhaustion. This night, which had begun as a simple work shift, had turned into a battle of courage, intuition, and trust. And at the center of it all, her daughter's unexplainable bond with Nathan had kept her grounded. Lily stirred in Nathan's arms and whispered a soft sound. He smiled down at her. "See, everything is going to be okay." Mariah couldn't help but believe him. Somehow, in the chaos, the child had chosen the person who would help guide them safely through the storm. The first light of dawn filtered through the office windows. Mariah, exhausted but relieved, watched as Nathan finalized the reports and handed them to security for safe transfer. Lily yawned, her small face resting against Mariah's shoulder. Nathan looked at Mariah. "You both did well. It wasn't easy coming in here under these circumstances." Mariah smiled weakly, tears in her eyes. "I never expected—" "I don't know how to thank you." Nathan shook his head gently. "No thanks needed, just trust your instincts." That's how Lily knew who was safe tonight. Mariah thought about it. Lily had sensed something in Nathan that no adult had noticed. Something instinctive, protective, and calm. And that trust had not only kept her daughter safe, but had guided her through one of the most stressful nights of her life. Executives and security moved quietly around them, restoring order. The documents would be reviewed, mistakes corrected, and the individuals responsible held accountable. But the lasting impression of the night was far deeper than numbers or transactions. Mariah knelt, holding Lily, who wrapped her tiny arms around her mother. "Mommy, he's nice," Lily murmured, looking up at Nathan with innocent eyes. Nathan crouched down to meet her gaze. "I'm glad you feel safe with me, Lily." Mariah felt a warmth she hadn't felt in months. The fear, the stress, the uncertainty. They had all led to this moment of connection, trust, and hope. Somehow, in the middle of chaos, a child's intuition had revealed the right person, and that choice had changed everything. As the sun rose higher, casting soft light across the conference room, Mariah realized that this night was more than a test. It was a beginning. A beginning of trust, new relationships, and hope for a better future. Lily's fear had been a barrier before, but now it had guided them to the one person who could make everything feel safe. Mariah held Nathan's gaze briefly, silently promising that she would never forget this night. The lessons learned and the bond formed. She and Lily had survived, and maybe, just maybe, their world was about to change for the better. The office doors closed behind them, the morning sun shining down, carrying with it a sense of closure, relief, and the quiet start of something new.